So before we get going, I just want to do a quick land acknowledgement, acknowledging that we have SSA attendees, and we also have someone from Montreal joining us from across the province. The work in Saskatchewan reaches the lands covered by Treaties 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 10, the traditional lands of the Cree, Dakota, Dene, Lakota, Nakota, and Saulteaux peoples, as well as the homeland of the Métis. Can you guys all see the screen? So good? I've lost all of you.
Oh, yeah, we're good, Jen.
Okay, excellent. So we'll just do a brief welcome, and then Ashlyn will get going on the presentation. Feel free to add stuff into the chat if you would like, or you can wait till the end and we will have a brief Q&A session. My name is Jen. I'm the IDEA coordinator at Saskatchewan Soccer Association. Inclusion, diversity, equity, and accessibility are in my portfolio. I'm a cisgender female. I use the pronoun she, her. For those of you that may have some difficulty seeing me today, I am wearing a gray Soccer Saskatchewan t-shirt. I have blonde hair and I wear glasses. So I'm going to turn this over to Ashlyn.
Perfect. So for those of you I haven't met yet, I'm Ashlyn Therens. I started with SSA as the coordinator of club licensing and have moved over into the manager of coach education and player development. Right now, I'm still kind of holding on to the club licensing program, just overseeing it and managing everything as we move forward. So I know some of you are familiar with club licensing. I see some faces that I don't recognize, so you may not be aware. So let's go through kind of what club licensing is, what the levels are, the requirements, kind of the purpose and principles behind it, and then our role with SSA in implementing the program. I'm very informal. If you have a question, like Jen said, put it in the chat, pop your hand up, just start talking. Lunch and learn, easy peasy. We'll just have some fun here. And I may not take the whole 45 minutes, so we'll hopefully give you a little bit of your day back here. But for club licensing, so essentially what it is, it's come in through Canada Soccer. This is being implemented across the country. And basically it helps guide member organizations by using best principles for organizational development. And this is for on the field and off the field. So we'll go through the categories later, but we talk about governance, accessibility and inclusion, technical, guide to safety, all kinds of things. So really recognizing that soccer in your club is more than just players on the field. It's everything you do behind the scenes as well. And this helps guide it and make sure that nothing is missed. So this program, we look to integrate best principles from several sources. The nice thing about club licensing is it's principles-based, not prescriptive. So they give you the principles and you get to figure out what works best in your environment. And then as long as you're following those principles, you're free to put your own spin on it and do what works for you. I think we recognize in Saskatchewan that the difference between like Saskatoon, Regina, Yorkton, Swift Current, PA versus like an Arborfield, VSA, how you guys operate with your smaller programs, they're very different, and we don't want to give you one set of rules for how you have to run your program. Yeah, Jen, we can go on to the next slide, please. So big things with club licensing program, prioritize fun for the kids. We know that kids quit soccer when they don't like it anymore. So how are we making a fun program that kids want to come to? Kind of hand in hand with that, we emphasize the physical, mental, and emotional safety of the children, the adults, anyone who is playing a game in your club. We have to make sure that it's a safe environment for them. Developmentally appropriate and high quality programs. This is so we don't see U5s playing a 90-minute match, 11 aside with offside, right? Being mindful of the differences in players. We want to maximize attraction, holistic personal development, progression, and long-term engagement. This is the stat that kind of horrifies me a little bit, but Saskatchewan loses 71% of our players from U9 to U11. So right now we lead the country in dropout rates, which is alarming. So through club licensing, can we look to build programs that encourage long-term engagement in the sport? We want to focus on participant-centered decision-making. So that's let the athlete make the choice on the field. We give them the problems. They look to solve them. Accessible, inclusive, and welcoming environments. That is an entire section of your club licensing application. That's something that Jen is going to be fantastic at supporting people with as we go forward. And then act as a good corporate and community citizen. So that's, be a good person, really. Like, don't try and poach players, don't discourage them from other sports, be an active member in your community, all that kind of things. Jen, when you're ready. So when we go and do a club licensing application, essentially how it works, it's called the CLS portal. I'll talk about that in a little while here, but clubs submit all of the information per question. It's either answering the question, clicking off a box, or submitting a formal document. So my role is to go in and evaluate all of that. We look at everything. We look at the professionalism of your document. Are there spelling errors? Does it meet objectives? Things get compared across the province and across the country. And then we do always have second set of eyes on it. So any club licensing issue or removal is not a unilateral decision by myself. It is a collaborative effort. But when we are evaluating, we look to keep these 5 things in mind as we go forward. So the first one is relationship building. We don't want the club licensing application to be you submit something and me just say yes or no, right? We want it to be you submit it, I read it, I review it, we have conversations about it. What can you do to support us? How can I support you? How can SSA look to make your club, your program better? Can we do something together that elevates soccer in the province? So there's a lot of dialogue and discourse between myself and everyone in your club licensing team. After reviews, you get individualized comments. The option for meetings is always there. So this is really, really a holistic process as we go through. Iterative development. So that one, super important to me. You're not expected to get it right on the first try. There is a lot that goes into it, especially as you get higher. Things like the MA2s, the NYCLs, those are very hard to get over the line the very first try. If you are showing reasonable progress based on the comments that have been given, then there's no issue, right? It's like anything we do, like a U5, right? They need time to grow. They need time to think. So do we as people. So do we as clubs. Things change year to year. That is okay in club licensing. Mixed methods. So you'll get qualitative and quantitative feedback. You'll get the opinions, the thoughts, the feelings, and you'll get hard numbers as well. And then transparency. If you know me, I will not lead you around. I will tell you what is missing, what is good. Try to be very authentic with our feedback and make sure that you understand what is needed of you. So 6 months down the line, you resubmit and you're not like, well, holy man, Ashlyn didn't tell me this. I want you to know exactly where you're at every time. And if you don't, that's okay. We can just have more conversations about it. Anyone have any questions on any of this so far? No, looking good. Jen, we can go on.
Did I go too far?
No, you're good. I think so. Yeah, you're good. So evaluation roles, again, kind of plays into what we just talked about, but as the evaluator, Canada Soccer likes to think of us as your critical friend. So we all have that person who tells you how it is with all the love in the world. That's kind of what I am. I'm not telling you things to improve on or things that you're doing great because I'm lying to you, I'm leading you on, I'm just being a jerk. We're looking to get you forward, right? So a critical friend, asking clarifying questions. If I don't understand it, I'm not going to just make my own interpretation. We're going to have a conversation about something. And then quality feedback, like I said before, comments, you'll get a numerical grade through it, and then any meeting that we need. Jen, ready when you are. So there's 4 levels of club licensing in the program. The base level is called Quality Soccer Provider. This is essentially what Canada Soccer has mandated, that every member organization in the country has to either have or be actively working towards. So it's very, very simple. There's like, I think it's 37 different things, and half of them are like, what's your name, what's your logo, what's your website? So this is your base level. The member association level 1, also known as the MA1, because we really like abbreviations in soccer, a little bit higher, a little bit more technical requirements, pretty much it. MA2, so member association level 2, that's going to have increased technical, increased sports science. You're going to have higher levels of accessibility and inclusion requirements, safety requirements. Everything just gets elevated. And then the National Youth Club License, or the NYCL, that is the highest level. There's, I believe, 77 in the country right now who have this NYCL level. Notable that the NYCL is managed directly through Canada Soccer. So Saskatchewan plays a role in helping with these. We don't issue or remove National Youth Club licenses. Alex Valerio, she works for Canada Soccer. She is the manager of that program, formerly Dave Nutt. So if that's the level of licensing you're going for, that's who you'd be dealing with directly. Quality Soccer Provider, MA1 and MA2s are all issued, renewed, and removed through Saskatchewan Soccer and myself. Jen? So biggest thing to keep in mind with what level of club licensing is what access of competition you have based on your level. So my apologies, this is a little bit of an outdated document. I'm actually on Field of Canada Games evaluations right now, so just kind of flying in and out, didn't have time to find the new one. All the information is the same, it's just the logos look a little bit prettier. QSP, Quality Soccer Provider, that's your grassroots stream, so that's the bottom. That's things like, you know, your league play, your sanctioned tournament, anything like that is a QSP. If you're wanting to play in 9-a-side provincials or the PSL, you need at least a member association level 1. Okay, so that's the big thing there. MA level 2, same thing. You could play in 9-a-side, in PSL, that's fine. There's not a lot of difference in the access to competition between the MA1 and the MA2. MA2 is more just a stepping stone from the 1 to the NYCL. National Youth Club License, that is what you would need for PDP. So that's the Player Development Program. It has not come into Saskatchewan yet. It will be soon. That will be essentially one step higher than PSL. So PSL would feed into Club Nationals. PDP program would feed into PDP Nationals. So you still get a Nationals for whatever stream you're in. It's just a different level of competition. And then the NYCL with the PDPs, that's a very standards-based league. So you're going to have higher levels of coach certifications, very specific training requirements, sports science requirements, all that kind of stuff. And then obviously we have our Excel streams as well. They're governed by Canada Soccer, so they don't need club licensing because their standards are integrated into the program. Anyone have questions about the competitions or anything like that? No, I think we're good, Jen. All right, so this is the fun one. The biggest thing with club licensing is the Safe Sport roster. If your Safe Sport roster is not there, you will not be issued a club license. If your Safe Sport roster falls below the acceptable threshold, your club license will be removed. And that also will impact your ability to receive MAP funding, to attend tournaments, to host tournaments, or potentially your standing with Saskatchewan Soccer Association. So it's a lot of words. It's a lot of work for clubs. We get that. This is the most important thing you will do. What we forget sometimes is if pieces of this are missing, your clubs don't have insurance. So, you know, it's a matter of, if we look at this fake environment, if an allegation comes against me and I'm fully cleared, but Jen is missing a piece of her Safe Sport roster, insurance companies are going to try and find a loophole for due diligence, and your organization could not have any insurance if you are missing pieces of this. And that's not a threat. That's not trying to be scary. That's the reality of a sport landscape right now. There's so many claims going on that people don't like to pay out. So this is why we're taking such an approach and why we need clubs to be so diligent with their Safe Sport roster. And it just ties in super nicely to club licensing. So there's 2 streams of the Safe Sport roster based on what you're participating in. So the modified Safe Sport roster, this would be for clubs who are never leaving their environment. So if you are a small town, if you don't do tournaments, if you only play in your home club, your coaches would be modified Safe Sport roster. So those coaches are going to need their criminal record check with a vulnerable sector screen that has to be updated every 2 years, and that has to be uploaded into RAMP when they register. They're coaching soccer in Canada. It's an online module. It's through Canada Soccer. And then Respect in Sport for Activity Leaders, which has to be done every 5 years. So that's all you need. It's still a lot. It's still work. Respect in Sport takes about 2 hours, right? Like it's time. It's not as much as the full Safe Sport roster. So that is for your coaches who are only in your environment. The second you leave your environment, you enter a tournament, you play another town, anything like that, your coaches are full Safe Sport roster. So they need everything that's listed in the modified, plus your actual grassroots age and stage specific online theory and your on-field course, the Making Ethical Decisions module or the online evaluation, Making Headway in Soccer. NCCP has Making Headway in Sport. It has to be the soccer module, emergency action planning, and rule of 2. And these are the non-negotiables anymore. We check these with tournaments. There are fines implicated in these. And again, that's not me being unreasonable. That's not SSA looking to make money or do anything like that. That is for protection of athletes first and clubs second. Yeah, these are very important to keep track of. And like I said, failing to meet this means a club license will not be issued or will be removed. Anyone have any questions on the Safe Sport roster? And if you don't want to ask it now and you want to give me a call or send me an email later, that's totally fine as well. All right, looks good. Jen, when you're ready. So this is what the homepage of the club licensing system looks like. I won't show you the actual system just because I have access to everyone's portfolios and I don't want to implicate anyone in a privacy situation. Club licensing system, or CLS, it is probably the most finicky program I have ever used. If you are using it and you are having troubles, please send me an email and we will look to get it sorted for you. When you go into it, you're basically going to open your application. It's going to tell you the exact questions, and then you just put in what you need. So if it's asking you for your club logo, you just upload that file. For your technical plan, upload that. Some of them it's going to ask you for your commitments, and you just click off the things that you commit to. So once you're in, it's user-friendly. If it crashes, if it won't load for you, there's a lot of different little loopholes. Just let me know what you need and we'll get you sorted out. Good, Jen? Okay, so skill center model. This is going to come in for anyone who's looking at an MA1, an MA2, or an NYCL. It used to be skill centers or dedicated player programs. It's just going to be skill centers going forward. Just keep things streamlined. So this is for your U8, U10, U12 programming. Canada Soccer likes to go off odd birth years. So for us, it'd be our U7s, U9s, and U11s. This is essentially to help with the retention, the holistic development, making better, more creative players. So skill center model, 3 goals with it. Basically, we want to keep as many as possible in the best environment as possible for as long as possible. When you do your MA1, MA2, or NYCL application, there will be a skill center integration into that. This is something we've been talking about For years, we've been waiting on Canada Soccer to finalize the application piece. I was told it would 100% be ready to go this past June, and I'm still waiting on it. So hopefully soon. Yeah, there will be more information to follow on this, but just be mindful that skill centers will come up in your club licensing application. Jen? So just a couple key things to remember with your club licensing application. You're going to write a lot of policy. There's a lot of different things in it. Write them for your target audience. Don't write what I want to hear. Write what you can tell your board, your stakeholders, your parents, players, anyone like that. Be authentic to you and your club. Write to your target. I don't want you to have to write a policy for me and then adapt it to show parents. Like there's no point in that. Write to who it's going to be directed towards. Be transparent. If you don't have a plan for accessibility and inclusion, that is fine. Tell us, we can help. We have Jen, we have a Kenke, we have so many people who can help, right? I would rather you say, I don't know how to do this than make up something, right? Just tell us, be transparent, be honest. Your technical plan. So we're looking at your content and your level of detail. Note that technical plans are kept confidential. There will never be a point in time where I'm like, this club does this with their technical plan to another person. There's a lot of detail. I know game models are specific. Be as detailed as you can because this helps your program in the long run. And it never leaves CLS, right? Don't be worried about that at all. And then just be mindful that all policies, so things like your code of conduct to protect children, your guide to accessibility and inclusion, all that kind of stuff must be posted on your website and readily available. So when we go through, we read the policy. I spend a lot of time on each and everyone's website trying to find the policy, make sure that you can see it and it matches. If it doesn't, then that gets flagged, and then we look to adopt. All right, Jen, good? Questions? Easy, 24 minutes, lunch and learn. Anyone have any questions for me?
I'm just going to stop the recording and stop sharing, and then you guys can just have a little conversation.
Absolutely. I did see a couple things come through in the